Hey guys, I'm AJ.
I'm Shanique.
I'm Tazi.
So in 2018, we quit our jobs to travel the world and live a freedom lifestyle.
We wanted to share our journey with you.
So welcome to the family.
What is up, family? It's Shanique here from FroFamilyTravels. So today we're going to be looking at 5 of my most recommended countries for being a digital nomad. And let's go straight into it. So this is based on our experience. You know, we've traveled to 14 countries so far. So there's obviously many more, but these are some of our favorite countries that we've experienced as nomads in the last 4 years. And the first one has to absolutely be Thailand. In particular, I'm gonna say Chiang Mai, which is towards the north of Thailand. It was never really a place that I'd considered previously to hearing about it, but it was one of the number 1 recommended places for digital nomads, and it's easy to see why. We absolutely loved our time in Thailand. Thailand has so many beautiful beaches. The weather is perfect. It's warm and humid. Can get a little bit cold in the north of Thailand. However, we loved our time there. So let's talk about accommodation. In Chiang Mai in particular, our average place that we stayed at was kind of between 250 to 300 pounds per month. That was in Thailand. If you go down towards the south, it might be a little bit more expensive. Chiang Mai was super affordable, and there's so much that you can do there. There's waterfalls in Chiang Mai. There's so many elephant sanctuaries as well, so you can experience some actually positive experience with the animals. There's loads of temples, and they're absolutely stunning, so beautiful and so peaceful as well. And of course, the night markets, which brings us onto the food. There are markets everywhere. There's food everywhere in Thailand. It is so easy to find food, affordable food in Thailand, in Chiang Mai in particular. Like, we rarely spent more than £1 for a meal. Rarely. If we went over £1.50, it was expensive. So it's super affordable. One of the other things that we also loved about Thailand is that people are very, very polite and friendly. It's hard to get annoyed with them. They're really great there, really helpful. We had such a fantastic time. Biggest downside, I would say, to Thailand, Chiang Mai in particular, is the pollution. It was really bad. And my understanding is it's getting worse as well. So I would just say, just be mindful of the pollution in Thailand. Noteworthy foods: mango sticky rice, Thai green curry, coconut rice, pad Thai. Oh my gosh, there's so much. There's so much. Not all necessarily the healthiest food in the world, but it's fantastic nonetheless. For transport, it's super easy to get around affordably. You can use a tuk-tuk, which are a lot of fun, and they're really affordable, and you can pick them up from virtually anywhere. We also used Grab, which is like the local version of Uber. So yeah, you can just book a Grab, and again, like for a couple of pounds, you can get around the town very, very easily. So yeah, Thailand. Next up, we're staying in Southeast Asia, and we're gonna head to Bali in Indonesia, which is one of the islands. A lot of people tend to refer to Bali as a country. It's not. It is an island in Indonesia. And we visited 2 places. We visited Ubud and we visited Canggu. Now, we absolutely loved our time in Ubud. It was very short, unfortunately. We were only able to spend a week there. We definitely wanted to spend longer, but it didn't happen. And it worked out roughly between our time in Ubud and Canggu. We spent kind of between £500 to £700 a month for our accommodation, and this was a 1-bedroom. And what I do like about Bali is it is absolutely lush and natural and green, and there are rice fields everywhere. So if you stay, you need to find a place that is overlooking a rice field. It's like one of the most amazing experiences, and you'll actually get to see the whole harvesting process, where the locals actually prepare the rice, and it is so peaceful to actually watch. But there's so much nature around, there's so many things to do, a lot of very touristy things, but even just walking around is super peaceful. Again, there's temples everywhere. One of the things that we do really love about Bali is how peaceful it is. It's a very spiritual country, so the people are very peaceful. Some of the nicest people we think we've met are in Bali, I would say as well. It is such a beautiful place, and Bali has the best sunsets, without a doubt, the best sunsets. So yeah, you'll always find things to do, especially if you're into like spirituality and eating very healthily as well. We mainly ate at like a lot of local warungs, I would say, and the average meal there would probably be like between £2 and £3. And yeah, ideally you want to focus on the local warungs. We didn't really enjoy our time in Canggu so much because there's a lot of gentrification there. I would say that is one of the biggest downsides to Canggu in particular, is a lot of Westerners have gone and taken over and opened shops, and it's become really expensive, and kind of they priced out a lot of the locals. Okay, in terms of food, I suggest that you try some mee goreng, banana pancakes. Oh my gosh, it's like the most delicious thing we've ever eaten. Downsides, definitely the taxi drivers and the scooters. Scooters are everywhere. That's another probably way that you can get around, is on scooter, but we have like a young child, so it didn't feel very appropriate for us to use a scooter. But that is another very popular way that people do get around, even with children. It's just not something that I was comfortable with. We actually found a really beautiful place to stay, but the Wi-Fi was terrible. And you have to bear in mind that Bali is mostly jungle still. So that was the main reason why we actually left Bali, because the internet was really bad. Remaining in Southeast Asia, we're now heading over to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, which is the capital of Malaysia. This place was so underrated. Again, it was another city that we knew nothing about, but I'm so glad that we visited, because it is one of my favorite cities. I didn't know what to expect when we got there. It's such a melting pot. There's so many different cultures there, which means there's a lot to do, a lot to see. Even though it's a city, there is an amazing forest that's been built within the city. You have the Batu Caves, you have some beautiful parks there, tons and tons of malls. So lots of shopping. If you love shopping, you'll have plenty of opportunities to do that. You have the Petronas Towers, lots of street art as well, which is quite fun. The transport there is fantastic, one of the best in the world, I would say, alongside with Singapore. The transport system is super duper clean, very frequent, ran on time, was very affordable. Our accommodation, we stayed in a serviced apartment, so it was actually a hotel where they actually rented out apartments, and it was about £700 per month. And then and that included everything like electricity, utilities, everything. And then for food, food was one of the highlights, definitely, I would say, about Malaysia. Roti canai, butter chicken, nasi lemak, cheese naan. Oh my gosh, it's just so it's just a melting pot. So you've got like not just Malay food, but you have Indian food, you have Chinese food. There's just so many different types of options, and I would say on average it was kind of like £3 to £5 that we would spend on a meal. The one downside that I would say to living in Malaysia is the smell. The drainage system is not very good, and you can smell it all over the city. Okay, next we're heading to Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. Vietnam was an interesting one because it is super duper affordable. Like, we were only there for 3 weeks and we spent about £130 on an Airbnb, which means if you did want to stay longer and found something a bit more local, I'm sure you could find it for much cheaper than that. There's a good amount of things to do as well. You've got the Remnants Museum, which was a difficult place to go to, but I'm glad I went and I learned more because I didn't know very much about the whole, well, we'll call it the American War in Vietnam. But yeah, I definitely learned a lot. There's lots of markets. You have like the Notre Dame Cathedral. Guess who colonized Vietnam? Yeah, food was interesting. Definitely not our favorite at all. I know like the pho is one of the most popular meals there, and it was very affordable. Again, I think everything was £3 to £5, but we did not enjoy it. We just found it very bland. We did not enjoy it at all, but it meant that we ended up eating a lot of banh mi, which is basically like a baguette. Also ended up having a lot of coffee. Now, I am not a drinker, but coffee in Vietnam is amazing, and it was really, really good. Like coconut cacao coffee is amazing. AJ had egg coffee and avocado coffee. There's so many different things to try. In terms of transport, Ho Chi Minh is very walkable, but you also do have Grab as well, which again is like Uber in the UK. You also have a ton of scooters as well. Like, honestly guys, they own the highway. Like, okay, and let's head over to Playa del Carmen in Mexico, which is where we are right now and probably where we spent most of our time in all of our journey. Our accommodation, when we first came to Mexico, we were staying in the center of town, and it was £450 a month for a 2-bedroom place. There are definitely a lot more people moving to Playa, and that is pushing the prices up. And so now we are outside of the center. We are still paying £450 a month, but that is now outside of the center. I would say most places in Centro are like over £1,000 now per month. One of the things we love about Playa del Carmen is definitely the food. It's very easy to spend kind of like £3, maximum £5, and you're getting a good amount of tacos, which some people love or hate here, so it's really dependent on you. We love it. In terms of things to do, like, it's a beach town, so everything's mostly centered around the beach. There's probably one of the downsides is there's not really a whole lot to do here in Playa. Life is very easy here. There's just not a whole lot to do. We've heard that it has a great nightlife, but obviously we have a child, so we haven't really had the opportunity to experience that. But I would say, ideally, if you want a lot more things to do, you need to leave Playa del Carmen and check out some of the other local towns or islands like Isla Mujeres, Cozumel, Tulum, or get on a plane and go somewhere a bit further. Transport, you can use a Colectivo, which is like the local bus, which is very, very affordable. It's only like 30p. You can get taxis, which if you know Spanish, you'll get much further, and you can pay kind of £1 to £5 for a taxi. If you only ever speak in English, you're gonna get charged maybe up to like £10 to £20. So come and make sure you learn some Spanish if you actually want to pay a more reasonable and more local rate. Family, I hope this was helpful for you to get to know a bit more of some of our favorite places. See you again in the next one, family. Take care. Bye.